Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining, everybody. We're excited to have you here. Here we go. We're going to dive right in. For anybody that doesn't know me, my name is Matthew Young. Nice to meet you. I'm a photographer and a filmmaker based here in Los Angeles, and I'm the co-founder of Art of Freelance. Art of Freelance is a 10-week online workshop that we've been running for like 4 years now. I think this was our 11th go of it this last fall, and we're currently enrolling our 12th workshop right now for the spring. And we get together for 10 weeks in small cohorts, and we sort of support each other, hold each other accountable while we make portfolio projects, personal projects, work that is not client work that we otherwise might not have the support, time, energy, bandwidth to create. And at the end of the workshop, we get to share the work with each other in these showcases. But this is the first time that we're doing sort of an in-between two workshops, mini showcase of just some of the work that was made last time. We went and we found 11 of the photographers specifically. Lots of freelancers of all different stripes do the workshop, but we selected 11 photographers that we thought had created something, interesting and compelling, and that we were excited to see again. And we asked them to come together tonight and share the work with us here on Zoom. So if you have any questions about Art of Freelance, the workshop, you're interested, please, you can email us hello@artoffreelance.com. You can go to artoffreelance.com and get more information. And we will send an email out to everybody that is here tonight at the event with a special code or an offer that you can use to enroll in the spring workshop. The early bird pricing just ended, but we'll extend that early bird pricing, that discount, to anyone that's here tonight. So without further ado, we're going to hear from 11 photographers. We'll have about 5 minutes each to share this work. And use the chat window, please, to say hello, ask any questions, connect with people, follow up, maybe say where you're calling in from. I think that's all I have to say. If anyone has any questions, drop it in the chat window. Connor is monitoring all of that with us as well. And we're really excited to get to share some work with everybody tonight. So without any further ado, I think I can hand the mic over to our first presenter, who I believe is Emily.
Hi, let me just get my timer started and quickly jump on my screen share. Here we go. Can you all see that?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. All right, well, I'm just going to jump right in. My name's Emily Levatt-Green. I'm a photographer. I'm based in New York. These days, spending a little bit of time in LA as well, but I'm excited to share this project, which I created entirely during the last Art of Freelance, which, I haven't, created quite a huge amount of work this big in such a short space of time. So it's my pleasure to share it with you. So this body of work titled Bloom really stemmed from a desire to expand my creative network and meet new collaborators. So that was my jumping point. And everything that I created fitted under an umbrella of flowers and botanicals. So why flowers? I mean, I love flowers. I have this obsession with flowers, and I find myself returning to photograph them over and over. And I wanted to see how I could work through that in a series. I love the way that they can be symbolic and representative of life and death itself. I guess, like, in a way, this work was a response to, this time, this pandemic, and it was really finding a way to connect and make work that felt really alive. It was, in a way, it was kind of a way to process everything that we've been going through and find a connection to the outside world. The other thing about flowers is they just really gave me license to play. So I got to kind of experiment and have fun. And for me, you know, taking a break from client work to do that was really important. What I really wanted to do was art direct and shoot images with intention. So I planned a couple of large scale shoots and then fitted some smaller, just, you know, one-off shoots around that as little works in progress. For this particular shoot, titled Palette of Plants, I envisioned an outdoor backdrop, which was a way of almost like bringing the studio to the outdoors. So I also spent a bit of time, you know, researching and making little visual notes as part of this, which was a process that really involved, you know, things like looking for light in my apartment when I was trapped inside, wandering the neighborhood for inspiration, or making little abstract vignettes with leftover flowers from other shoots. And by shooting everything on medium format film, this kind of added another layer to the project. What it meant was that I had to really slow down my process and be more intentional with what I was making. Because if you shoot film, you know that it's really expensive. So, you know, you're really invested in it and you're just waiting for those negatives to come back. So it was nice to find a way to shift away from a digital process and make it feel really tactile. And this was a little mini series here called Roots. And this was one that I performed with dancers. And for this one, what I was wanting to do was talk about how we kind of grow together to the point of coming apart. So I wanted to make images where human form became abstracted and gave way to nature. So in a way, you know, I just wanted to like make some sort of images that felt more quiet and sort of reminded us of the fragile nature of life itself. Using fashion and portraiture was also a good vehicle for me to play around. Like it lent, you know, it gave me license to play, and it also lent itself really nice to collaboration. So, you know, it got me out of the process, you know, out of my comfort zone, and really was a way for me to like reach out to new people. So in the process of this project, I met, you know, tons of stylists, makeup artists, dancers, you name it, floral stylists. So I've, you know, now I've built these relationships that I'm really excited to harbor and grow. For this shoot here, the Impressionists, this is my timer. I'll just whiz through. The Impressionist was something where I wanted to create a barrage of flowers which kind of overwhelmed the senses. So I combined cultivated flowers with a backdrop. So it became a pattern. But honestly though, like I think, you know, the strength of a lot of these images relies on the collaborations. And for me, that was something that, you know, I wanted to get out of Art of Freelance, and I really think that it's done its job. This project is just like the seed of an idea, and I can see it being something that I continue in the future. I'm really excited about, you know, seeing, you know, these have already been picked up and published in other places, which is great from a marketing perspective. They're things that I can feel proud of putting in my portfolio, and yeah, I'm just excited to share them. So please get in touch if, you know, if you have any feedback or if you want to collaborate on something. Perfect. And that's me. 5 minutes.
Amazing. Such beautiful work. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, maybe put your, and this is a note for all the presenters, maybe when you're done presenting, throw your contact information in the chat so, you know, people can find your website or find how to follow up and see more of the work. I'm sure people would love to connect, you know, your Instagram handle or website or anything like that. And for all the presenters, I'll try to keep this flowing by not stepping in between each presenter. So I think everyone has the lineup. So feel free when someone's done to jump to the next person. But I will say the next up, we have Gus, who is coming to us all the way from Africa. Thank you, Gus, for doing this. I assume it's the middle of the night. Please tell us where
Yes.
you are.
I'm Augustus, and I'm based in Ghana in West Africa. And it's actually 1 a.m. at the moment. Uh, Let me just put my video real quick. It's actually 1 a.m. at the moment, and I'm pretty excited for this presentation. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen right now. Okay, can we all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. So as I said, I'm Augustus Pukusakode, and I was a part of the last cohort, the last version of Art of Freelance, let's say that. And I'm a photographer and a creative director. And so let me just walk you through my project. So basically I'm a student. I'm studying mechanical engineering at the moment, and I do creative direction, design, and photography. So for me, it all started like I just picked up my phone. I used to take pictures all around. Then it developed into a passion that I felt like, okay, I could tell different stories through this. So I feel like this is just like an evolution of my work so far in the past years. And I shot this photograph in August of 2020. I mean, in the midst of being in a pandemic, I felt like, okay, I needed to put out something fresh, something new. So I actually shot this image based on some inspiration I saw, and I made it my own because I wanted something new and something fluid, something fresh for to tell a different story. So from there I joined Art of Freelance, and essentially I came up with this project called Fluidity in Motion, where I capture different things in a way that I try to show color, harmony, and balance in my work. And it was all inspired by the culture around me, sunsets, how I began shooting, what even inspired the origins of me shooting. And I generally just like making things look good. So this was the main inspiration for art of for this project. So it was a 5-part photo series, and each picture had its own color palette, and each color palette was a representation of a specific time in my life as a creative. So this palette is actually called True Beginnings. Excuse me, when I started doing photography, I used to capture a lot of earthy tones. I still do because like I'm surrounded by a lot of green grass, a lot of brown, a lot of dark skin. So I used to capture a lot of earthy tones in my work. And this was the main, I tried to capture that within this image. So this palette was called True Beginnings. The second palette was actually called Trial of Triads. So it had like a triadic color scheme. And this was meant to be like, it was supposed to be like, it's actually one of my favorite images that I've captured so far. So it's meant to be like on paper, these colors don't usually work, but I try to, craft something new out of them and incorporate my style within the work. So it's like a color blocking, color harmonious, balanced work, if that makes sense. So the third palette it's actually called monochromatic memoirs. So again, I tried to put some balance in this by adding symmetrical components. And this is actually a composite image that I shot and I turned into black and white because I wanted this palette to actually symbolize though color is my greatest asset, I felt like, okay, why not strip the color away to see what is truly beneath? So it's basically telling a different story through the lack of color. The second one is also a monochromatic color palette, and it's called Dreaming by Color. But it's basically dream in by color, like dual color, like black and white. So it's like how my work how I want to show the balance and the harmony in my work through. Though this picture is not actually like symmetric like the others, you might notice that I actually just try to show some harmony and balance in that as well. So that is Dreaming by Color. And the last palette is actually called Earth. I did mention that I used to shoot a lot of earthy tones, and I reached a point where I reached a certain point where I felt like my work was getting a bit stagnant because I used to see a lot of the same colors, a lot of the same things in my work. So I said, okay, why not go back to my roots and actually try and find out why I started creating, what actually inspired me to start creating. And that's what made me name this palette Earth. So this is the green, brown, and white color palette. So yeah, I'm always open to collaborations as a creative. I feel like collaboration drives the industry, and I feel like there are many more people I would love to work with internationally and nationally. So if you want to collaborate on anything, I'm also open to travel as well. So just shoot me an email. You can follow me on my Instagram with my Behance, and I guess that's it. So yes, thank you very much, and that's my time.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Well
thank you.
done, sir. And we know that it's very late there where you are, so we'll not be offended if you have to go to bed. We appreciate you coming and sharing that work with us. You're so talented. It's amazing.
Thank you for the opportunity as well. I love this.
Of course, man. Thank you. All right, Carmen. Hi.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, great. So my name is Carmen Danishmanti. I am reporting to you live from Barcelona. It's 2 a.m. and here we go. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you guys see that all right?
Sure can.
Yes? Okay, great. So for my Art of Freelance project, I created what's called the 2021 calendar zine. And before I even go through all of it, I want to read an intro text that kind of defines what this project, what the backbone of this project is. And this is the first text that welcomes people to this project. So basically, I read, "What I would give to sit in front of you and drink coffee, squeeze your hand with the grip force of empathy, link your arm with mine and guide you down a street, through a park, across a bridge, to the mouth of an ocean. Do you know how badly I want to cook you dinner, light you a candle, hear about your day, kiss your cheek, show you a new song, make a bed for you, pour you a glass of water and tell you to breathe, hit the road with you, go on airplane mode with you, tell your children how wise they are, tell your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your aunt, uncle, cousin, grandmother, grandfather, etc., that they look beautiful? If you're holding this calendar zine in your hands and reading this, you fall somewhere along the sliding scale of my life between heavy unknown stranger I deeply appreciate and lightly sustained but always firmly rooted friend, friend of a friend, chosen family, my own blood. I thank you. Ultimately, I want to see that cosmic cord that connects the evils of our globe erode and cut loose and lasso and kick dust into the worldwide liberation of Black people, brown people, femmes, disabled folks, indigenous people, trans people, anyone disenfranchised by the unjust system that history has baked into our lives, into the ground we stand on. Certain days, holidays, yearly recognitions sustain this history like a footnote, without question, without correction, taken as fact. With that same strength, but often with less mainstream acknowledgement and visibility, come the cultural traditions and celebrations that have kept our communities' heads above water generation after generation, penciled in and ink tailored on the calendars we buy. This calendar zine I made for you takes this all into consideration to be 1, a vision board for better days ahead, 2, to visually empower you, and 3, poetically correct that history that no longer serves us, 4, that has never really served us. I hope you find yourself at home in these pages and that these pages find themselves in your home. Enjoy. So basically, this project that I did combines research, both observational and through my own community. It combines my own writing and collage work to present a decolonized calendar. So I'm looking through the year that we've had, through the pandemic, talking to people in my own community, and thinking about what we need. And my idea was to create a a mix between a zine and a calendar. And I don't know if you guys can also see me besides my shared screen. So this is what it looks like, because it can be a little confusing for people. And I'm going to take you through the, nope, how do I move this? Okay, through the different layouts. So it starts off like a magazine, and then it flips into a calendar. So you have all these layouts, and basically through my research, I eliminated any sort of colonial and problematic holidays and provided more just trying to correct history with underrepresented communities and making sure that the imagery also is aspirational and honors those communities. And so what I read is an intro text that kind of welcomes people to the calendar. And it also is written in non-gendered Spanish as well. And so, and then you have an outro text. And so the idea is that this is like a really aspirational thing. It's an object, it's a piece of poetry. And through Art of Freelance, I was able to bring this idea to life and also have some of my own cohort be my first customers. This was, when I started the project, I was also, just moved to Barcelona, and so I needed a way to kind of create some income for myself, and just through word of mouth on Instagram, I was able to sell 80 of these just through word of mouth to people I don't even know, places I'd never even been. So it's been a really great experience. I recently had a feature up on British Journal of Photography highlighting my calendar zine, which is really exciting and awesome, because I had a really great interview which dives in deeper into why I made this. And basically the whole experience has been amazing because it gave me the structure to also finally open up an online shop where I have the calendar zine, but I also am doing like custom collage wear and selling prints. So it's been a really wonderful experience. Just because it, the calendar zine is something that I poured everything that matters to me into it, on a visual level, on a cultural level, social level. And the best way to support me in this work is to purchase a copy. You can do that through many ways. You can do it through my website, carmendanishmandy.com, or on Instagram, which I'm also at Carmen Donish Mandy. And if you follow Art of Freelance, I'll probably come up, even though I have a complicated last name. But yeah, this has been a super amazing experience because I wouldn't have had the structure to do this, to finish this idea and see it through. And also my first customers were my cohorts. So I have to shout out Art of Freelance for that. And I'm excited because I'm already thinking about what a calendar can be like for 2022. So support it. It's a really beautiful, amazing project, and it's locally made here in Barcelona. I just got a DM minutes before this that someone had just got theirs in Washington. So still going out, it's never too late. And I'm really proud of this. So thank you so much for letting me share this with you.
Amazing. Am I up? We're going? We're just gonna jump in. Okay.
Jump in. Awesome.
Well, I was in Carmen's cohort, and it was really inspiring to see her go through that process, as she said, during the move, and also happy to be one of the first customers. So eagerly awaiting my copy in the mail as we speak. It was, I think you said it was the 11th, Matthew. So if nothing else, I want to go down as a perfect attendance award kid at Art of Freelance, because I've been every one, and I just signed up today for spring. So hopefully I'll be seeing some of y'all there. Let me get this going here. Oh, start timer. All right. So this was, I kind of did three projects concurrently last session, and this was one of them. I was trying to build on these organizations and do portraits of employees at different spaces, and I did a museum and a library, and this was supposed to be at the lifeguard tower, except, you know, the state lifeguards don't have a lot of incentive to participate in such a thing because they don't need to advertise. They have their jobs and they're happy with it. So I went ahead with it anyways because I just love this location, and it's at Leo Carrillo Beach in Malibu, and it really was inspired just by that tower first and foremost. I wanted to find out more about it, why it's there, why it looks different than other towers. It's like this main command center for all the beaches from Santa Monica, I think, all the way through Zuma. So that's why it has all the extra antenna. Like people call in there first when there's an emergency. So that was the original idea. And then at the same time, these other photographers called Kremer Johnson, a duo who I've known for years, approached me about doing a collaboration. And I said, well, yeah, let's talk about where you guys want to do something. And yeah, I threw out this location and they loved it. So we just went ahead with creating a fictional narrative around the location instead of kind of the more documentary portrait thing that normally the rest of the projects kind of entailed. So let me just zoom around here really quick so you can see all the little vignettes before I jump in. We did this all in one day, and the goal is to do this big wide tableau at golden hour, but before then to capture everyone's up close portraits. So it was quite a hustle, and I don't think, you know, I've done a lot of those big tableaus, and I always intend to get portraits of everyone, but there's just not enough time when you run around by yourself and, you know, on a shoestring budget. So with them along, it was super helpful that we can go and knock out all these vignettes at the same time. We did 12 of them, or I think 11. I'm getting that noise wrong way. So, you know, this guy's really buried here. All the stuff that you see, you know, this also, they used their retoucher. I guess we used their retoucher, so it's a little bit different in my style, which I enjoyed kind of getting out of my own head to get some color in there like that. You know, some very thought out. Their retoucher is like this, he's got a master's in painting, so he's really in tune with a color palette that's more specific than I would normally use, but I loved it. So it's got definitely a look that is more along their lines, but, you know, they stepped out of their comfort zone to do kind of this wider, large tableau, and it was just a great combination of both of our, you know, interests all around. So this one got really crazy with the props. Linnea, who's going to be showing up, helped us do a little set design here, which looked amazing because, you know, again, there's just so much to do, and we would have never got it done without so many people chipping in to help. Good old J-Trav bringing his drone out, which got shut down by the lifeguards who didn't want to be involved in the shoot, but were happy to tell us what not to do. Yeah, we just had a great time. And even though we're sprinting around and kind of stressed the whole day, we did get to share some laughs with everyone and kind of hang out in this beautiful sunshine. I mean, it was a bit cold. I felt bad for the girl who had to run up and down the beach with the kite. She, you know, with those big scenes, there's always like one impetus of action that everything else revolves around. So we needed to get her flying the kite right in the perfect space. And everyone else's action kind of like watched her, and then they did their thing as they saw the kite approaching. So she had to do that about 30 times to get it right, but it worked out. And this one ended up being one just grabbed at the very end. I think I was shooting Linnea actually on the lifeguard tower while they were shooting, I think her name was Laura, on the beach. And so I just love, you know, all the lighting was pretty consistent throughout, but this one with that kind of end of day light really came through. Ends up being one of my favorites of the series. This was poor, it was really windy. She was out there on the tip of this doing yoga all day, and there's Linnea there. And that's it. Thank you so much. Hope to see you all join.
Okay, so I guess I'm going next. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So my name's Alana. I'm based in LA now by way of Canada. I actually moved countries in the middle of the workshop. So I'll kind of talk a bit about how that changed my perspective on the whole thing and how the workshop was so meaningful for me as a result. So let me share my screen really quick. Oops. Okay. So can everyone see the screen? Okay, sweet. So basically, when I started the project, I kind of had some plans that I wanted to do, and I was kind of going halfway through, and then I moved. And my plan in the back of my head was, if I move to LA for some reason, I will do a video project with Art of Freelance. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just knew that that was what I was going to try out. So about halfway through, I decided to do that when I got to LA, and I didn't know any crew when I got here at all. And this was kind of a wild idea. It involved flying a drone around in Palmdale, and I knew I needed a permit for it, and I needed a producer, and I needed all these different pieces of drone operators because I didn't have a drone license in LA. So that's really where Art of Freelance came in so clutch for me, because I was basically able to learn how to put together a video project from putting together a treatment and trying to get people on board to actually going through the shoot day and coming out with this project at the end. And because of that, I've started doing a lot more video work and really, really loving it. It's kind of honestly been an interesting direction that I'm now extremely passionate about, and I didn't even know until halfway through and when this all happened. So I can show the final result. So basically, I put together this photo series that gained quite a bit of traction with a few awards and that kind of thing. And I knew that I wanted to do a video piece for it to send it around as a mock campaign. So just a little quick backstory on the project. It's basically me capturing basketball and running on different playing surfaces around, at the time, Vancouver. And then I knew I wanted this court in LA. So yeah, I will play it for you. Yeah, so that was really, really fun to put together. The response was amazing, and I was able to kind of package it all out as a campaign and send it to different agencies and get meetings out of it. And so it's really been, oops, that is old. Yeah, so it's been really, really awesome to do that. And I think I wouldn't have been able to have the kind of discipline to finish the project in the specific time frame that we had. That was a really huge thing for me, because at times it became overwhelming of, I need this last person in my crew. How am I going to make this work? No, we have to do it by this day. We're shooting this day. It needs to happen. So that was really good. Yeah, the connections that I made, I've now worked with the same crew multiple times, and I really, really enjoy working with them. And that was also thanks to Matthew as well for helping me out with that. Yeah, and as well, my cohort really helped me of how to write a treatment for video, how to reach out to people. It was really, really invaluable. So really, honestly, I credit it with one of the smarter things that I've done for my career. So I highly recommend 100%. And this is how you can stay in touch with me. And I added a little still from the video shoot I did on Sunday. And I'm now loving video. So yeah, thank you, Art Freelance. Yes, the Batman warehouse.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm a freelance photographer based in Austin, Texas right now. And I worked on a personal project called In Praise of Friendship through Art of Freelance Workshop. And initially, I was really nervous about this because I hadn't worked on personal project in, I would say, 5 years. And so it was really nerve-wracking. And I had a lot of doubts going into doing this, but my cohort was super supportive and believed in this project even when there were times I didn't. So I wanted to work on this project because I personally felt like friendship wasn't emphasized enough in mainstream media as much as they do with like romance. And I think all is valid. And I just wanted to uplift this side, like the idea of friendship more. Or so because during pandemic, I went through some family emergency and a lot of my friends really showed up for me, even from distance. And so that really inspired me to do this project. So I interviewed each person on whoever they find to have meaningful friendship with. And sometimes it could be just themselves, and as well as their father, like here, their romantic partner can be best friends sometimes even, and just best friends they grew up with, things like that. And I would like to share a few quotes that were meaningful to me. So for example, this is Ney and Mon's show. They became a good friends and they just kind of became really philosophical about a lot of things in the world. And I will read some of the quotes that they said. So Ney on the left says, I went through a great tragedy of life, friend being called out and exit a community. Navigating that, Monsho consistently showed up for me. He was really thinking things through than being reactive and fueling the fire. Monsho says, that was during the height of cancel culture. We talked with that friend and we are still friends. There are so many people doing, excuse the language, shit things in the world. I'm an evolutionist and I don't think there should be a prison system. I think we should rehabilitate people into being more communally available and communally integrated. If I'm true to my word, then I have to step into that place when I can. When I have that space in me to reflect to somebody how is that they can be better. My friend Blake has a song that says, I forgive everyone because I want to be forgiven. And that hit me. And then I also would like to share a quote by Brian. And Brian says, growing up in a very codependent culture where being together means everything, whether it is with family and friends, I kind of lost a sense of who I actually was. The first 6 months of the pandemic made me realize I had no sense of self, so there was and is immense inner work I am working through. Part of this work includes setting boundaries for myself and for those I care deeply about. This time also revealed the importance of self-love and how neglecting this seeped into the crevices of my relationships. I'm learning to learn more into genuine care and compassion. It all starts with me. And these are Brian reconstructing a new future that their inner child self wanted, cutting the past and creating the future of interdependence. And lastly, I would like to share a quote by Evelyn, who is actually here right now. So this is Evelyn and Maleni. So Evelyn says, my friend have been my family beyond my relatives. Sometimes we don't find that unconditional love in our families, and that doesn't mean that we can't work on that. For me, I wanted to have good, solid friends, and my friends are my family. Then Maleni says, they say blood is thicker than water, but you know what's thicker than blood? Mud. You cannot hear in the place that broke you. And my friends were the ones who picked me up. I'm a stronger person now through that, and I'm not going back to where you keep me mentally. No, now I am a woman that has a village. I am not alone anymore. So yeah, I felt like I personally learned so much myself while interviewing my friends and people that referred me to be interviewed. And the beginning of this project, it was kind of slow and it was hard to get people's contact or permissions because it was kind of like pandemic kind of beginning and everything was scary. So my cohort gave me advice to put out like a casting call on my Instagram. So I did that, and that really, really helped me. And I got to achieve my goal of at least like taking a portrait and interviewing about 12 people during that 10 weeks. So I was really, I felt like that was a success. And then during that time, my work was super slow. I didn't have anything going on. And then after working on this, I felt like Art of Freelance kind of helped me get the engine oil running. So I've been actually getting some works, and then there was clients who reached out to me that I'm gonna be working with next month, and they said they found my work through because they saw this friendship project. So I found that to be very meaningful, and I probably take this again in this. I probably have to sign up ASAP, and yeah, I think it's been really fruitful so far. I'm still working on it. I sometimes get asked for collaborations, but I've just been really disoriented lately. So I'm probably gonna work with Art of Freelance on like structuring. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Cool. My name is Jeremy Jackson, and I'm a photographer in Los Angeles. The past several years, I've focused on shooting stills, and many of my projects have incorporated dancers. For this Art of Freelance, I wanted to focus on directing a dance video that expresses how I and many other people have been feeling during the pandemic. I wanted to convey the effects the pandemic has had on our relationships with ourselves and with each other. And while some relationships may have benefited from so much time together during the quarantine, others may have been strained during this period of heightened anxiety. I named this film Discord because the past year has felt like a long, strenuous battle to me on a personal mental health level, a political level, as well as a global level, knowing that our response to the crisis and decisions we make on a daily basis could result in heavier consequences and uncertainty, as the media reminds us of the dramatic rise in death count every day. And I collaborated with a friend of mine, Stephanie Kim, who choreographed a really amazing piece set to a Middle Eastern sounding song that I was really inspired by. And I chose to film in the desert because the barren landscape evokes the feeling of deprivation and solitude. Here it is. Thanks for watching.
All right. Hi everyone. My name is Marla Klein, and I'm a commercial photographer here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I did a project called Rooted, and it was one of my goals during the workshop was to look at my or kind of visit my family more and just spend more time with them, and especially my mom who was diagnosed with this really debilitating disease right at the same week that the pandemic hit. So I wanted to do something on her, and and my parents live about 4 hours away from me in Wisconsin, so it's quite a process to go visit them. So I wanted to try and do that more, but while stay safe during the pandemic. I decided to do a portrait series on my mom, and went out there to Wisconsin for a weekend and photographed her, and ended up making like a mini book on her, and that kind of examines the relationship that we have as mother and daughter, and incorporates plants and greenery, which we both love, and kind of represents growth and laying down roots. So here is Rooted. 1 second. So I ended up doing a mini series of myself as well that I incorporated in there, and I wrote my mom little mini letters to her, which I'm just going to let you guys read if you want to. Let's go through all the pages. And that's my mom on the right. She's really cute. So I ended up actually printing the book into a physical book for my mom, and that was her Christmas present this year. She didn't know that I was doing all that extra stuff. She just thought I wanted to do portraits for her for this workshop I was a part of, and I didn't really explain anything else. I just wanted it to be a surprise, and then she didn't know I did all the self portraits and the writing, so that was really special for both of us, and for my whole family. Um, and Doing this with the workshop, like in our cohort, was really special for me as well, because it was very supportive. I haven't like told a lot of people about my mom being sick, so I think it was just easier to work through this like with strangers. So that was really cool to be part of the workshop. And everyone was like so supportive and kind and wonderful. So that was it was just a really cool thing to be a part of. So I highly recommend joining the workshop again this year if you're considering it. So this is where you can find my work, my website, my Instagram, and also my on my other personal project, the Metamorphosis Project, which is a portrait series of people's gender transitions. So it's my other work on there as well. So thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Okay. So, hello. My name is Linnea. I'm based in Los Angeles. And I started a project that is ongoing. I will get that up here. Called the ABCs of Alliteration. So I've been struggling with wanting to do a lot of different things across the board. I love product, I love portraiture, I love lifestyle, I love more documentary. And so I was trying to figure out like how I could still kind of pursue all these things, but put it under one umbrella so I can claim that it's all for one project. My little sneaky way of not actually having a niche. And so I started the ABCs of Alliteration, which the basic concept is that I'm going to have these alliterative sentences for every single letter of the alphabet. I think during Art of Freelance, I shot 5 or 6 of them, and I have plans to shoot more this month. I was forced to move during the pandemic, so I'm a little behind on my stuff right now. But the nice thing about this is eventually I want to print them into a standalone zine. But then right now, I can also have them as like for example, this one, The Cactus Keeper Carefully Cultivating Copiapoa, I can have just these images were a little bit more kind of like documentary lifestyle in nature, whereas I have some others later on that are a little bit more fashion focused. So most of these are actually Copiapoa, in case you were wondering. So this is one of the goofier ones, Masked Mummy mulls over munchies at the market. So I do want to have just kind of play around with humor in all of it as well, just because I try to find optimism in most of what I do. And this was right around Halloween, so it felt fitting. So this one was kind of a larger intensive project. I'd been wanting to do more test shoots with models for years and years and years, and decided to do so finally, I think about March 2nd or something was when I decided, of 2020 was when I decided that I really was going to start testing with models. So then 2 weeks later, pandemic happened, and eventually it got to a point where I was like, you know, I need to figure out a way to make something work. So I was able to kind of fit this in where we could still have one model and be very safe about it. I was actually shooting behind a glass window during this portion of it anyway. And then each of those individual characters also had her own separate look and separate things. So this is coming out for an editorial, online editorial in a couple weeks. So I haven't been able to post them yet. This is my friend Riley, and she is a floral designer. So I wanted to have just like something to showcase her and how wonderful and strong and awesome she is. And also, I don't know, I love Roadhouse. She loves Roadhouse. We kind of wanted to have some little 80s movie moments, nods in there as well. So this one was another one where I was able to kind of bring in both the documentary editorial side of things, but play around with it more. This is Alice Markham, who is a taxidermist in Los Angeles and teaches taxidermy classes and is just like an all-around badass. And her stuff is very, very cool. So yeah, I spent, you know, an hour or two with her figuring out how we could present these little burrowing owls. So I am, yeah, a far cry away from all 26. Eventually, I'm going to really push them once I am at all 26. But for now, you can see my work. I'm doing other stuff outside of this too, of course. You can follow me on Instagram. And if you have any good sentence ideas or fun words that you like, you can email me and I will try to build something around them. And yeah, that's me.
Yay, beautiful work, Linnea. Beautiful work, everybody. This has been so much fun to get to revisit these projects. So my name's Matthew Young, and I believe I'm next, right? I'm not going out of order, am I? No, good. I was, like other people have mentioned, I was interested in adding more video to my photography work. And so, you know, working with my cohort and maybe taking one step back, just for anyone that hasn't done the workshop or that's unfamiliar, you don't necessarily need to come with the project that you know you're going to do. Sort of the part of the process of Art of Freelance is picking the project. So in going through the exercises, which I've done before, but they're always a little bit different, kind of meeting you where you are, I identified wanting to do stills plus video projects, combining my photography work with some video projects. So I wanted to do 3 and I got 2 done. And I felt good about that. And I really appreciate my cohort in supporting me in doing that. And I will, I'm just gonna show one of them tonight. It's the one that I hadn't quite finished for the showcase last time. It was it's a nonprofit based here in Los Angeles that is called No Us Without You, and they support, they give food to undocumented back of house restaurant workers, people that didn't qualify for government aid. So we did a couple days photographing them in action, and then we did a couple days photographing a back of house restaurant worker at work and at home. I'm going to share the photos first. You all can see that okay? Sharing the screen. So this is Nancy at a restaurant nearby. Whoops, let me see, how can I cycle through these? Okay. And so was able to photograph her at work and then move on to the headquarters for this organization. They're a really grassroots organization. They just sort of started once the pandemic hit, and it's pretty inspiring to see this like renegade group of people just kind of figuring out how to do this kind of food pantry work as they go. I don't want to say too much because they'll say it for themselves in the video that that I'm going to play next. But we visited them while they did one of their food distributions on the street, their drive-through food distribution for folks, and took portraits of the different volunteers and staff that they have while we were there. And we were shooting stills and video at the same time. And, you know, we made this project to share with our commercial clients. You know, obviously we hope to get more stills and video work by sharing this project, but also, you know, we're excited to support this organization and, you know, have something for them to be able to use as well for all of their marketing purposes. And I am going to play the video now as well, which we just are about to release and are really excited about. So here we go.
Back of the house workers are the unsung heroes, the spine of the hospitality industry. They do the dirty work. They wash your dishes. They bus your tables. They work 60-hour weeks. A grand majority of these back house workers don't qualify for government aid, so it was up to us to try and find them some help. We don't claim to know everything. We didn't go to school for this. We were bartenders shaking margaritas. But we jumped to action, then we were building our wings on the way down. This is it. We're not going back to what we once knew. There's no plans to stop. I know we're going in the right direction. A lot of people are telling us that we really are making a difference, and I'm starting to believe it.
So there we go. And my cohort was super supportive. I kind of hit a few roadblocks along the way, some of them technical and some of them more emotional. And everyone was really great at just sort of encouraging me to put one foot in front of the other and just figure out what the next thing to do to move the ball forward was. And I appreciate them for that. So yeah, the whole thing's kind of combined together on my website. We just put it up the other day. It's matthewyoung.com. And that's it for me. So next up is Nolan, and then Nolan's our last presenter, and then I'll just say, a quick little closing us out here, about the workshop coming up, and there we have it.
Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Nolan. Let me share my screen. Share sound. Okay, cool. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong one. Here we go. Okay, do you guys see this? Okay, so I actually did a couple projects for Art of Freelance, but I'm gonna share this one today, Rise Together. It was the bigger project that I had done, and just released it actually yesterday. So this is kind of came at a perfect timing to share it with you guys. This project had 17 different people involved who are all either activists or strategizers or organizers, just people really having a strong impact in their communities in different ways. And Art of Freelance is great because one big thing I didn't think of was reaching out to producers to help me with this. I kind of didn't think that, a producer would be able to help me on a personal project, or it would cost a lot of money. And someone in my cohort gave me that thought. And I reached out to this woman who I had worked on another project before, and she ended up being really into this idea. I mean, we're like really close collaborators now after this. She helped a lot. She helped bring it together, and also it helped launch her production company that she's starting. This is kind of like the first project for her. So it was just such a perfect collaboration for us. And then another, oh no, I totally forgot to time myself. Well, okay, I'll try and be, anyways. Another fun fact about this is that everyone here was shot, it was like in the middle of COVID, so everyone here was shot individually, like by themselves, and we had a retoucher stitch everyone in together into this big group image. So then, here we go. So this is just sort of some smaller groups. These are all like the social media images that we put together. And then just something about the campaign. It's Rise Together is a campaign that celebrates leaders that are cultivating camaraderie, growth, community through activism, organization, advocacy, and artistry. We believe that all voices deserve to be heard, and together we can foster a system that continues to give back. And then we've got this little video component as well. I'm gonna play it. It's about a minute long. So here we go.
I believe it's so important to continue to unify our communities. We're in a time when we need to be able to lean on one another, build with one another, and push for the changes that we know will better serve us.
Our liberation is tied to this planet. Once we understand the interconnected nature of oppression, we will understand the interconnected nature of liberation.
The little acts of resistance, the little acts of love, when you sum up all of that, that's the most powerful energy, and that's the foundation of every movement that's ever brought about lasting and structural change.
I have to be the walking freedom, attainment of joy, because I do not want my people and myself to be solely defined by our pain and trauma and hurt. Hold on to the joy as much as you do the grief, baby, because that in and of itself is a gift.
So yeah, that's that. That was really fun to make. I also trying to get more into video and directing, so this was kind of a perfect project to do both. This, we did individual shots of everyone and just kind of explaining, you know, what everyone's doing. Right now, this lives on Intuition Films is the name of the production company that my producer has. It lives there. I'm going to make a page for it on my website, but the other idea is to sort of create, you know, package this all and show a lot of different ad agencies, just to kind of show, you know, this is supposed to be like a spec shoot for a campaign, you know, just sort of showing what we can do in like an advertising type of style. And then this is just some more images of some people. It was just such a great team too. We had like the stylist, the graphic designer, a composer that did the music, you know, the DP, like just such this huge team that came together to do this just because everyone was so into the idea, which was cool. And then these are some BTS shots from the day. In the top second one, you can see that's kind of like how we were shooting them, just like one at a time. And then we're just kind of like pasting them in there. And then this is my cohort group from Art of Freelance. They're awesome. And we have a text chain, and it's just a great people to, like, you know, if you have questions or need a vent or something, it's been a great group. So this is info if you want to see the whole project. It's on intuitionfilms.net, but then my work, it's nolwencifuentes.com, and then my Instagram is nolwencif. And yeah, that's it.
Well done. Amazing. High note to end it on. But really incredible work from everybody that presented tonight. Such beautiful stuff. It's awesome. You know, one of the things about Art of Freelance is it's 10 weeks. It's fast. You know, we spend a couple weeks thinking of what project we want to do. And then, you know, we spend 7 weeks like working on the project. But you know, and then we show something, and so, sometimes what we're showing is still a work in progress. And I really enjoyed this tonight, getting to check back in and seeing some of the projects that had developed even further. So it was awesome to see everybody's work. Thank you everybody that joined tonight to see this work, whether you've been at a showcase before, whether you're alumni of Art of Freelance, or whether you're new to the community. We appreciate you being here. Again, the workshop, it's 10 weeks long. You can come in without knowing what kind of project you want to make. There's some exercises, some visualizations, some mind mapping, some different ways that we kind of wrap our heads around what is the project that we should be working on. And then we spend 7 weeks supporting each other in actually putting one foot in front of the other and getting something done, something to show at the end of the 10 weeks. You can see by the work that was presented here tonight, you know, that the projects are really great, you know, because they're not client work, they're personally directed, and then, you know, supported with community and love and support, feedback along the way. So, you know, we're really excited to do the workshop again, and see what work comes out of the next 10 weeks there. Yeah, like I said, if there's any questions about the workshop, how it works, I'm here, Connor's here. Send an email. It's hello@artoffreelance.com. You can go to artoffreelance.com and get more information about how it all works, kind of have it broken down there. If cost is ever an issue, we want this to be accessible for everybody. We have a scholarship program. Many of the people that presented here tonight were on the scholarship program. Our sponsor for the scholarship, Betsy and Van from Space for Arts, are on this call. We always appreciate them and them supporting artists to do the workshop. So I think with all of that said, I don't want to hold everybody here longer. I just want to, you know, be super grateful for everybody for presenting tonight and sharing some space with us.
Matthew,
Thanks,
Matthew, you're amazing. I'm sorry, I'm just jumping in. Woohoo! Like you've given so much voice to so many beautiful projects, and without you, some of these projects would never have have come out. And I just have to say it's an absolute honor to be associated with Art of Freelance. Just keep going. And we're so happy to be a part of it. And to all of you artists out there, keep creating. COVID is over. We're going to get past this. Right?
Thank you, Betsy. We appreciate you guys, and we appreciate all the support that you give all the artists. And I will take zero personal credit for all the amazing art that's made, except for my own. But it does seem like the structure of the workshop sort of helps people move those balls forward. So we appreciate everybody for being here. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate everyone that stayed up till the middle of the night. In Barcelona and Ghana and Austin and Minneapolis, or Minnesota, you know, New York, I'm sorry, Michigan, where are you guys? Massachusetts? There we go. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us again. Shoot us an email if you have any questions, and we'll hope that we'll see you in the workshop kicking off here just in a couple weeks. Zoom's so weird with the silence thing.
Night.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
Buenas noches.
Appreciate everybody.